colleges created remedial education classes to help make sure struggling students were ready for higher level classes. Many students still take those courses, but increasingly there's a sense that classes like remedial math are hurting the prospects of the very students schools want to help. Only a third of the students who are placed in those courses go on to graduate or to complete higher level math. The numbers are even worse for students of color. Hari Srinivasan has a report for our special Rethinking College series. It's part of our regular Making the Grade segment.
You put parentheses around them and you did that work first. And
for thousands of college students like Jose Ceballos, this isn't just a math class. This is a way around a major roadblock to a college degree.
I feel like it's my whole perception on math, just changed.
For decades, Ceballos and others who did poorly in math were not allowed to enroll in courses like these that count toward a bachelor's degree. Instead, they were placed in low-level remedial courses.
I hated it. I was like, I don't want to do this.
Victoria Dominguez is Ceballos' professor.
I would see them just retaking the classes over and over, the same class.
In 2016, a study by the California Public Policy Institute found that only 1 in 4 students enrolled in remedial math classes were passing. The very courses that were designed to get students college ready had become barriers to a 4-year degree.
I took it 6 times and I couldn't pass it.
And so
the passing rate for minority students like Raina Schmitz was particularly troubling. One study showed only 2% of Latino students and 1% of African American students in low-level remedial classes passed college math 2 years after enrolling.
They give up. They get discouraged.
Those remedial courses often were a trap.
Christopher Edley is the president of the Opportunity Institute.
People would take them once, twice, 3 times, still not succeeding. They would use up their financial aid eligibility, they'd get discouraged, they'd end up dropping out and never complete college. There's no question that math stops tens of thousands of students who would otherwise do fine in college from getting to the goal line.
So the probability of me getting a 6 from this random pretended shuffled.
Hoping to stop students from dropping out of college, California legislators passed a new law that requires community colleges to offer alternatives to remedial classes, like the statistics class Jose Ceballos attends at Citrus College.
What's the difference now that you're doing?
So what we're doing now is we added an extra 2 units to the class. It is extra time. Whatever algebra skills they need to be successful in statistics, they get it right when we are teaching the statistics concepts. When it comes
Dominguez also asks students to set goals, reflect on their behavior, and help each other.
How will you change your behavior?
Just positive thinking, not giving up when you fail.
When we're learning something new, and instead of raising my hand and being like, oh, I don't understand, I just continue to keep going, making myself more lost. So instead of doing that, I should go to tutoring and ask questions.
Some parts of it almost seem like a bit of group therapy when you're trying
Yes.
to deal with their phobias of math.
Exactly right, because they have a lot of common issues. And the more they can talk to each other, they're going to be the best teachers to help them get over those difficult humps in the class.
But I still
The intense scrutiny of remedial math in California colleges has led some high schools to rethink their math curriculum.
I want you guys to come up with at least 2 statistical questions with more than 1 variable.
At Lusinger High School, just outside of Los Angeles, Daniel Gavilovich teaches an alternative math class called Introduction to Data Science, or IDS.
This class was to say, hey, let's look at math from a different perspective, create a new pathway for our students who may have historically struggled with math.
You guys are asking whether age is related to people's favorite type of music, right?
Students use engaging data, often surveys about teenagers, to solve problems that also tell a story.
Are vegetarians more likely to drink water rather than juice?
Are vegetarians more likely to drink water than juice? You want to filter out?
Oh, vegetarian and the beverage.
And the beverage, okay.
Algebra and geometry are folded into the storyline.
What we see in traditional math classes, draw x and y equals mx plus b, draw, what's the slope, what's the intercept of the y-axis, right? So they have a visual for the function. Now this class is you're doing the same thing, but now that data visualization actually has a story behind it. There's meaning behind the visuals.
With the story, we can actually come up with things that we're interested in. So you put your life into math and make it better.
IDS was created by the California Math Project at UCLA. The course satisfies college expectations for algebra. Kendall Brown is the executive director.
If a student takes IDS and is successful, you'll get credit for passing Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. And Algebra 2 is a big stumbling block for a lot of students.
I hated Algebra 2. Like, it was the worst class ever to me.
Christopher Edley says Algebra 2 is more than a stumbling block. He says the subject has become a civil rights issue.
Here's the civil rights principle. If you have a policy that affects one group in a far different way, more burdens, more obstacles than other groups, then you need to have a justification for choosing that policy. The arbitrariness of imposing an Algebra 2 hurdle is disproportionately painful to poor kids and to minority kids, the kids who are less likely to have had effective math instruction.
Edley, the former dean of the University of California Berkeley School of Law, who got his undergraduate degree in mathematics, says colleges should reassess math requirements for students who do not plan to major in the STEM fields.
They're not really based on evidence. It's really an agreement about what it means to be an educated person. And a century ago, it was Greek and Latin. Today, it's apparently the quadratic formula. I appreciate the importance of math more than most, I believe, but I also appreciate the importance of opportunity.
Not all educators want to do away with Algebra 2 requirements.
Algebra 2 is pretty abstract, but I'm a little bit leery of just kind of eliminating it, and I just think we need to really think about who needs it, how it's being taught, how do we expose students to the content, regardless of what class they take.
As for Citrus College, the number of students passing college credit math has doubled with the new classroom format, and Jose Ceballos is in the top of his class.
For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Hari Srinivasan in California.